I never imagined that loving two people at once could destroy three lives so completely. My name is Louis and I'm a 32-year-old IT consultant living in Tempe, Arizona. Nothing about my life screamed extraordinary until the day Sylvia walked into our office building. She was a speech therapist working with one of the companies we provided tech support for, and from the moment our eyes met in that elevator, something shifted in the universe. I didn't know she was married. Not at first. We started talking during lunch breaks. Casual conversations about work, the Arizona heat, our favorite coffee spots in Tempe. She was funny, intelligent, and had this way of listening that made you feel like you were the only person in the world. 3 months into our friendship, she mentioned Philip almost accidentally. My husband works late most nights, she said, stirring her iced coffee. The word husband hit me like a punch to the stomach, but by then I was already falling. Philip was a CEO of a mid-sized marketing firm. Successful, driven, always traveling for business. Sylvia painted a picture of a man who loved his career more than his wife, who forgot anniversaries and canceled date nights for conference calls. I told myself I was just being her friend. I told myself a lot of lies back then. The first time we kissed was in my car after a company happy hour. She'd had 2 glasses of wine, and when I drove her back to pick up her vehicle, she didn't get out immediately. We sat in the parking garage talking about everything and nothing, and then her hand was on my cheek and her lips were on mine. She pulled back, tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I shouldn't have." "Don't apologize," I said and kissed her again. That was the beginning of the end, though I didn't know it yet. It was the calmest day before the storm. Our affair began in earnest after that. Sylvia started working late, telling Philip she had evening client sessions or paperwork to catch up on. Instead, she'd come to my apartment in Tempe, where my Caucasian shepherd, Thor, would greet her with excited barks before settling at our feet. We'd cook dinner together, watch movies, make love like teenagers discovering intimacy for the first time. She'd leave around 10, driving back to the apartment she shared with Philip, slipping into bed beside a man who apparently never questioned her absence. "Does he know?" I asked her once, about 2 months into our relationship. "Know what?" "That you're unhappy." She was quiet for a long moment, running her fingers through Thor's thick fur. "I don't think Philip notices much about me anymore," she finally said. "He's building an empire. I'm just there." I wanted to believe her. I wanted to be the hero in this story, the man who rescued her from a loveless marriage. But guilt has a way of eating at you, especially at 3 in the morning when you can't sleep. The affair continued for 8 months. 8 months of stolen moments, secret phone calls, elaborate lies. Sylvia would text me from the bathroom at restaurants while having dinner with Philip. We'd meet in Los Angeles on weekends when she told him she was visiting her sister. In LA we could be a real couple, holding hands in public, sharing hotel rooms, imagining a future that seemed increasingly possible. "I'm going to leave him," she told me one evening in Los Angeles. We were in our hotel room overlooking the city, the lights of LA stretching out like a blanket of stars. "I just need to find the right time." "When?" I asked, hating how desperate I sounded. "Soon," she promised, kissing me. "I love you, Louis. I love you more than I ever loved him." I thought, this was the moment when I understood, there's no going back. But soon never came. Weeks turned into months, and Sylvia remained Mrs. Philip Morrison. She always had a reason, a big work project for Philip, a family event, the holidays approaching. I started to wonder if she'd ever leave, or if I was just a comfortable escape from her real life. Then everything changed on a random Tuesday in March. I was at Sylvia's workplace, fixing a server issue, when I saw him for the first time. Philip Morrison walked through the office doors like he owned the building. Tall, confident, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent. He was looking for Sylvia, had decided to surprise her with lunch. I watched from across the room as she introduced me. "This is Louis, our IT guy," and the way Philip barely glanced at me before launching into a story about his morning meeting. That's when I saw it. The way Sylvia looked at him when he wasn't watching. There was something in her eyes, not just guilt but genuine affection. Maybe even love. She laughed at his jokes, touched his arm, and for a moment, I wasn't sure which version of Sylvia was real. The woman who whispered, "I love you," to me in dark hotel rooms, or this one, who seemed perfectly content being Mrs. Morrison. I thought it couldn't get any worse, but that night, Sylvia came to my apartment and I confronted her. "You still love him," I said. It wasn't a question. She didn't deny it immediately, and that silence told me everything. "It's complicated," she finally said. "What's complicated?" "Either you want to be with him or with me." "I want to be with you, Louis. But Philip, we have history." We've been married for 4 years. I can't just throw that away without being sure. 4 years versus almost a year with me and you're still not sure? She started crying and Thor, sensing her distress, nuzzled against her leg. I love you both, she said. I know that's horrible but it's true. I love Philip for who we were, for the life we built. And I love you for who you make me feel I can be. I thought I understood complicated emotions, but this was beyond anything I'd prepared for. You can't have both of us, I said quietly. I know, she sobbed. I know, and it's killing me. We didn't break up that night, but something broke inside me. I realized I was tired of being the secret, tired of waiting, tired of sharing her with a man who got to call her his wife while I got stolen hours and hidden kisses. And then things got even worse. 2 weeks later, I discovered that Sylvia had told Philip she wanted to try couples therapy. She mentioned it casually like it was no big deal, but to me it was a knife to the gut. She was fighting for her marriage while promising me a future together. I felt like a fool. Why didn't you tell me? I asked. Because I knew you'd react like this, she said. I'm trying to do the right thing, Louis. I need to know for sure that my marriage is over before I leave it. Doesn't that make sense? It did make sense. It also broke my heart. The therapy sessions went on for 2 months. During that time, Sylvia and I still saw each other, but less frequently. She was working on her marriage, and I was slowly dying inside. Philip, apparently, was actually trying. He started coming home earlier, planning date nights, being the husband Sylvia had claimed he'd stopped being. And I could see her wavering. He's really trying, she told me one night, and there was something in her voice, hope, maybe, or relief. He's remembered what made us good together. And what about us? I asked. What about everything we have? I don't know anymore, she admitted. I'm so confused, Louis. I thought I knew what I wanted, but now. I should have ended it then. Should have walked away and saved myself more pain. But I loved her, and love makes you stupid. The final truth came in June. Sylvia and I met at our usual coffee shop in Tempe, the one where this had all started. She looked tired, older somehow, and I knew before she spoke what she was going to say. Philip knows, she said. My blood turned to ice. What? He hired someone to follow me. Has evidence of everything, the Los Angeles trips, coming to your apartment, all of it. He confronted me last night. And then it got even worse. What did you tell him? I asked. The truth, she said. That I've been having an affair for almost a year. That I love you. For a moment, hope flared in my chest. So you're leaving him? She met my eyes and I saw my answer before she spoke. No, she whispered. I'm staying. The world stopped spinning. You're what? I told Philip I made a terrible mistake. That I want to save our marriage. That I choose him. I couldn't breathe. After everything, after all your promises, all the times you said you loved me. I do love you, she interrupted. But I love him too, and I married him, Louis. I made vows. I broke them and I hate myself for that, but I can't just walk away from 4 years of marriage for a year-long affair. That's all I am to you? An affair? She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. You're more than that. You showed me I could feel alive again, that I could be wanted and loved in ways Philip had stopped showing me. But he's changing now. He wants to fight for us. And I owe it to my marriage to fight too. What happened after this is worth hearing. I left the coffee shop and drove home in a daze. When I arrived at my apartment, Thor greeted me with his usual enthusiasm, but I collapsed on the couch, numb. Sylvia had chosen Philip. After everything, she chose him. But here's where the story takes a turn nobody expected. Not even me. I didn't beg. I didn't plead. I didn't drunk text or show up at her apartment or make a scene. Instead, I did something calculated, something that would haunt me but also set me free. I decided if Sylvia wouldn't give me closure, I'd create my own. I called Philip. We need to talk, I said when he answered. About your wife. We met at a bar in Tempe. Philip arrived exactly on time, looking every bit the powerful executive even in business casual wear. He ordered a whiskey, I ordered a beer, and we sat in uncomfortable silence for a moment. You're the IT guy, Philip finally said. Louis. I'm the man who's been sleeping with your wife for almost a year, I corrected. But I guess you already knew that. His jaw tightened. The private investigator gave me quite a detailed report. Then you know it wasn't just physical. We were in love. She told me she was going to leave you. But she didn't, Philip said coldly. She chose me. Did she? Or did you corner her after ambushing her with evidence? Did she really choose you, or did she just choose the easier path? Philip took a long drink. Why are we here, Louis? You want to fight for her? Because I'm going to tell you right now, you've already lost. I'm not here to fight for her, I said. I'm here because I think you deserve to know the whole truth. And then I told him everything. Not to hurt Sylvia, though it would. Not to destroy their marriage, though it might. I told him because I realized that if Sylvia was going to stay with him while still loving me, while harboring all these secrets and lies, their marriage was already dead. It just hadn't stopped moving yet. I told him about Los Angeles, about the hotel rooms and the promises. I told him about the nights in my apartment, how Sylvia would lie in my arms talking about a future together. I told him that she'd said she loved us both, that she was torn, that the therapy had worked not because she stopped loving me but because he'd finally started being the husband she needed. My reaction shocked even her friends. She loves you, I said finally. I believe that. But she loves me too. And if you take her back knowing that she's in love with another man, you're not saving your marriage. You're just prolonging its death. Philip stared at me for a long moment. You're telling me this because you think I'll divorce her? That she'll come running back to you? No, I said honestly. I'm telling you this because you both deserve better than a marriage built on the ashes of an affair she still hasn't let go of. And because I'm done being the secret. If Sylvia wants to be with you, she needs to really be with you, not half here and half with me in her heart. You won't guess how this all ends. I thought that conversation would be my closure. I thought Philip would take my words, process them, and decide what to do with his marriage while I moved on with my life. But Philip Morrison didn't become a successful CEO by letting other people control the narrative. 3 days after our conversation, Sylvia called me hysterical. What did you do? She screamed. What did you tell him? The truth, I said calmly. He's divorcing me, Louis. He said he can't be married to someone who's in love with another man. He said you were right, that I can't have both of you, and if I'm not all in, I'm out. Part of me felt triumph. Part of me felt sick. What did you expect, Sylvia? You can't tell one man you're staying while being in love with another. I thought we could work through this. I thought we could rebuild. Rebuild on what? On you still having feelings for me? On him knowing that every time you touch him, you might be thinking of me? That's not a marriage, Sylvia. That's a prison for both of you. She was crying, and once upon a time, that sound would have broken me. But I'd done my grieving. I hate you, she sobbed. You ruined everything. No, I said quietly. We ruined everything together. The difference is I'm trying to give us all a chance to actually be happy. After this moment, her life was never the same. The divorce happened fast. Philip had already consulted lawyers even before our conversation, and with the evidence from the private investigator, it was relatively straightforward. Arizona is a no-fault divorce state, so the affair didn't matter legally, but emotionally, it mattered to everyone involved. Sylvia tried to hate me. For weeks, she sent angry texts about how I'd destroyed her marriage, her stability, her future. But slowly those texts changed. The anger turned to sadness, then to resignation, and finally to something else. I'm staying at a friend's place, she texted me one evening, 3 months after Philip had filed for divorce. I miss Thor. You can visit anytime, I replied. She showed up the next day. Thor went crazy with excitement, and Sylvia laughed for the first time in months. We didn't talk about Philip or the divorce. We just sat on my couch watching my dog act like a puppy, and slowly, we remembered why we'd fallen in love in the first place. The ending of this story surprised even me. When Sylvia's divorce was finalized, we didn't rush into anything. We'd learned that lesson the hard way. Instead, we dated properly, going to restaurants without fear of being seen, introducing each other to friends, building something real instead of something hidden. It wasn't easy. Guilt lingered like a shadow, and there were nights when Sylvia would cry about what we'd done, about the pain we'd caused. I loved him, she'd say. I really did love Philip. I know, I'd reply. That's what made this so hard. Do you think we're terrible people? I think we're complicated people who made terrible choices, I'd answer. But I also think that sometimes, love isn't enough when you're with the wrong person. A year after the divorce, Sylvia moved into my apartment. Thor was thrilled. We were cautiously happy. We'd destroyed a marriage to be together, and we both carried that weight. But we also had something real now, something that didn't require lies or secrets. I learned that Philip had moved on too. He'd started dating someone from his company, a project manager who apparently made him laugh the way Sylvia used to. I hoped he was happy. I hoped he'd found someone who was all in, someone who didn't divide her heart between two men. As for Sylvia's friends and family, reactions were mixed. Some understood that marriages end and hearts change. Others saw us as homewreckers, the people who destroyed something sacred. Sylvia's mother refused to speak to her for 8 months. Her best friend from college called me a manipulative predator, despite never having met me. Her father just seemed sad, disappointed that his daughter had become someone who broke promises. Philip's family was worse. His sister sent Sylvia a scathing email detailing every way she'd failed as a wife and a person. His mother cried at a mutual friend's party, loudly lamenting how her son had married a faithless woman. The social fallout was brutal, and Sylvia bore the brunt of it. "I earned this," she'd say when another friendship ended or another family member stopped returning calls. "I broke my vows. I lied for months. I deserve their anger." "We both do," I'd remind her. "I knew you were married. But you weren't the one who stood at an altar and promised forever." She was right, of course. The weight of broken vows sat heavier on her shoulders than on mine. But we carried it together, and slowly we built something new from the ruins of what we'd destroyed. 2 years after Sylvia left Philip, we were at a farmer's market in Tempe when we ran into him. It was awkward and painful and necessary. Philip was there with his girlfriend, a pretty woman with kind eyes who held his hand like she was afraid to let go. "Sylvia," Philip said, nodding. "Louis." "Philip," Sylvia replied softly. "How are you?" "Good," he said. "Really good, actually." He introduced his girlfriend, Rebecca, who shook our hands with a firmness that suggested she knew exactly who we were. We made small talk for a few excruciating minutes. Philip looked happy, genuinely happy in a way that made me realize he'd found his all in person. Sylvia noticed it too. When we walked away, she was quiet. "He's better off," she finally said. "So are you," I replied. "Am I?" "I destroyed a 4-year marriage, Louis. I lied to someone I loved. I'm not sure better off is something I get to claim." "You're with someone who you don't have to split your heart for," I said. "That's something." She leaned against me. "I love you completely now," she whispered. "No division, no confusion. Just you." "I know," I said. "I love you the same way." Before I continue, please pause the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new interesting stories. Thank you. 3 years after the affair began, Sylvia and I got married. It was a small ceremony with only close friends who'd forgiven us, held in my apartment with Thor as the ring bearer. No family attended. Most still couldn't reconcile what we'd done to be together. But we didn't need a big celebration. We just needed each other and the promise to build something honest. People often ask if the guilt ever fades. The truth is it doesn't, not completely. We destroyed a marriage to build ours. We hurt someone who didn't deserve that pain. Philip might be happy now, but we're the reason he had to rebuild his life at all. That knowledge doesn't just disappear because time passes. But we're happy too in our complicated, tarnished way. We're honest with each other now, brutally so, because we learned what secrets can do. We go to therapy together, working through the guilt and the trauma of how we started. We volunteer at a local animal shelter with Thor, trying to put some good back into the world to balance the harm we caused. Sometimes late at night, Sylvia will wake up crying. "I dream about him," she'll say. "About Philip. In the dreams, we're still married and I never met you and everything is simple. Do you regret us?" I'll ask, and every time I'm terrified of her answer. "No," she always says. "I regret how we started. I regret the lying and the betrayal. But I don't regret us." I don't know if that makes us heroes or villains in this story. Probably neither. Probably just two people who fell in love at the worst possible time and destroyed everything in our path to be together. Some days that feels romantic. Other days it feels monstrous. Most days it just feels real. We live with Thor in a small house now, having moved from the apartment with too many memories. Sylvia still works as a speech therapist, helping children find their voices. I'm still in IT fixing problems for people who have no idea what mine have been. We're planning to maybe have kids someday, though the question always lingers. What will we tell them about how mommy and daddy met? The truth, probably. That love is messy and complicated and doesn't always follow the rules. That sometimes you can love two people and have to choose. That choosing means someone gets hurt and you carry that with you forever. I still think about that day in the coffee shop when Sylvia first told me about Philip. If I'd walked away then, if I'd said, "I don't get involved with married women," how different would all our lives be? Would Sylvia and Philip still be married? Would they be happy, or would their marriage have crumbled anyway under the weight of his work obsession and her unhappiness? I'll never know. None of us will. That's the thing about the choices we make. We only get to see the path we took, never the ones we didn't. What I do know is this: I love Sylvia completely and she loves me the same way. We built something real from something that started wrong. We paid the price in friendships lost, families fractured, and guilt that never fully fades. But we're here together and we're trying to be better people than we were when this started. Is that redemption? I don't know. Maybe there is no redemption for what we did. Maybe we just learn to live with our choices and try to make the aftermath worth the destruction. Thor is sleeping at our feet right now, his massive head resting on Sylvia's lap. She's reading a book about child development, preparing for the kids we might have someday. I'm typing this on my laptop, trying to make sense of everything that happened, everything we did. Outside, the Arizona sun is setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. In this moment, we're at peace. The storm has passed and we're still standing. Damaged, yes. Changed, absolutely. But standing. And maybe that's the real ending to this story. Not a fairy tale where love conquers all, but a realistic one where love causes casualties and we live with the consequences. Where happiness comes with a price tag of guilt and broken promises. Where two people who shouldn't have fallen in love did anyway and they're trying, every single day, to make that choice worth what it cost. Philip moved to Seattle for a new job opportunity. Heard through mutual acquaintances that he and Rebecca got engaged. I hope he's found the uncomplicated love he deserves, the kind where he never has to wonder if his partner's heart is divided. He was a good man who got caught in the crossfire of our affair, and if I could take back the pain we caused him, I would. But I can't. None of us can take back the past. All we can do is move forward, carrying our mistakes with us, trying to be better than we were. And that's what Sylvia and I are doing. Moving forward together, building a life from the wreckage, loving each other with the wholeness we couldn't give anyone when this started. It's not the story either of us thought we'd live, but it's ours. YouTube may no longer suggest my channel to you, so subscribe to it to receive new interesting stories. You will also help the channel grow and improve the quality of its content. The screen now displays a playlist with other interesting stories that you can listen to. You can also write in the comments what stories you would like to see on the channel.